On this week's show, we're getting ready to rumble as we check out a tough night of women's boxing action at the Toronto Newsgirls Club.
Then we're off to fill the nets at the Crescent Town Centre looking in on a unique sport. Anyone for some netball?
And there's a brand new volleyball club at Earl Grey Public School, but it's just for the ladies. And tonight, so is our show. Welcome to Centennial Sports TV. It's Friday, October 30th, 2009. I'm Laura Barney.
And I'm Angela Willett. Thanks so much for joining us. Tonight's a special night.
That's right, Angela. Tonight's show, we focus on women in sports.
We'll be highlighting female teams and athletes from our area, a show hosted by ladies dedicated to our achievement in sports. So let's just get started. We start with a sport that's typically geared more towards the male population, but if you told Layla Ali she hits like a girl, you might not wake up after the 10 count. As Matt Padani reports, these women are no daisies in the ring.
It was a sellout crowd at the Newsgirls Boxing Club for 6 fights on the all-female card. The first 3 were novice class bouts, with most of the boxers fighting for the first time. The undercards lasted a total of 3 rounds, all of the matches finished by technical knockout. Sonja Paris, known around the club as Fearless, won her fight more quickly than she expected.
I wanted to go for 3 rounds. I was mentally prepared to go for 3 rounds, and I was kind of disappointed that I didn't get to go because that was my first fight, and I feel like I didn't really get a real fight.
The main card was a different story, though. All bouts went the distance. In the first fight, Jen Plyler-Danch from the Newsgirls Club squared off against Krishan Lysenko from the Cabbagetown Club. Lysenko was the more experienced fighter, but Plyler-Danch got the best of her in 4 rounds, earning the split decision. The next bout saw 2 fighters from the Newsgirls touch gloves. Renelle Trigger Minute in the blue corner fought Peggy Shadow Blow Brenya. Momentum shifted back and forth between both boxers, with Minute earning the victory by decision. It was announced at the end of the event that the Minute-Brenya duel was awarded Fight of the Night honors. The last match featured provincial champion Kira Loco Lococo in the blue corner facing Anne-Laure Bouvier from the Cabbagetown Club. Lococo, regarded as the Newsgirls' best fighter, went toe-to-toe with Bouvier in a duel that challenged the previous bout for best fight honors. The competitive match ended with a surprise split-decision victory going to Bouvier. Savoy Howe, who trains the Newsgirls fighter, had some questions for the judges at the end of the fight.
I was sure that was our fight. That always happens, though, you know. You'll know it's your fight, and they'll announce the other corner, and you're like, "Are you kidding me?"
One thing's for sure: these girls sure do pack a mean punch. For Centennial Sports TV, I'm Matt Padani.
Thanks, Matt. And if you enjoyed that story, later in the show, CSTV's Elena Pagliarello talks more about ladies boxing and its place in the Olympics. Now we jump to some hoops. When James Naismith invented basketball, the clothing women wore at the time prevented them from playing. So they changed the rules, and their game took on an identity all of its own. Victoria Cornby has more.
This sport may sound familiar, and may even look familiar, but this is not women's basketball, although that was its original name. This is netball. There's no dribbling or running with the ball, and the centre pass replaces the tip-off. It's predominantly played by women, and the game is meant to be non-contact.
England adopted the sport and proceeded to spread it throughout the Commonwealth, but it never really took off here in Canada, which begs the question, where are they getting their national team players from? And I found the answer right here in East York, at the basement level of this sports complex.
The Crescent Town Rebels are aged between 8 and 18 and are new to the sport thanks to Marva Johnson, who came to Canada from Trinidad.
Because I've been doing this for like at least 15 years now, and we still haven't gotten really big, you know, so hopefully, you know, in the next couple of years the young generation will get that.
And these young ladies all give their newfound sport a big thumbs up.
I love netball just for a reason, because it's like fun to play in the game.
Because it's an awesome sport. Most people don't know about it, but it's an awesome sport.
Yeah, it's like you feel special that you're playing it.
And they have high hopes for this lesser-known sport.
Since there's already so many sports in the Olympics, netball should definitely be one of them.
And from the future of Canadian netball to the present. Namartha Thavarasalingam, a teacher and Team Canada player, hopes to develop the sport.
But we want to get the youth involved. So what the idea behind that is to bring in people into schools and community centers to introduce netball, not just as an activity to play, but it's got a fitness component.
The girls were having so much fun, I couldn't resist hitting the court myself. Playing with the team and talking to those involved made me realise this ages-old sport isn't going away from East York anytime soon. For Centennial Sports TV, I'm Victoria Quarmby.
Thanks, Victoria. Our next story takes us to an unusual event both women and men take part in. A local running group called Excess Energy hosted its biannual Mad Dog Scramble this last week, taking participants places the average dog wouldn't. Frank Trachtenberg was there.
Guys, go, go, go.
And they're off and running in the Excess Energy Mad Dog Scramble, down the sidewalk and into Sunnybrook Park, where a daunting course was waiting.
It's not a typical trail race, and it's in the range. We always call it an 8K trail race, so they're going to be going up and down hills, some very steep ones in spots, and they'll also be going through a few creeks.
And he wasn't kidding when he said steep. This last hill was 7 kilometers into the race and left most racers barely able to run. But in the end, only one of 81 racers failed to make it to the finish line due to a broken ankle. Steve Allen walked away with the men's trophy, while Vas Bendar captured the women's. Even after the tough race, these runners were still excited about the event.
It was awesome. It was awesome. Yep, lots of hills, lots of wet rivers. It was great. I'd come back again.
It's fantastic. It's a race that anyone can win because of the staggered start, and everyone can have fun. So why wouldn't you come? It's a fantastic day.
For Centennial Sports TV, I'm Frank Trachtenberg.
Coming up next, we're at your service with a story about the Riverdale varsity tennis team. And it's championship season in high school field hockey. One team gets to lift this trophy.
What if you could live your sports dream off the playing field? At Centennial College in Toronto, those dreams could become a reality. Welcome to the Graduate Sports Journalism program, where students can learn their craft from some of Canada's finest journalists.
What we're interested in graduating is not just jocks, but great storytellers who have a passion for sport.
The students have the opportunity to get hands-on training. They get to go to sports games and do reports.
So what are you waiting for? Log on to centennialcollege.ca to find out how to apply.
Welcome back to our all-female show. We're enjoying it. Hope you are too.
We still have plenty more ladies to talk about. Glad you stuck with us. As winter blows in, the rackets are put away and the skirts get hung up, but not before one last ace is served up on the courts. Jordan Reginato got to spend the week with the Riverdale girls varsity tennis team as they prepared for their last love game.
Riverdale Collegiate is the venue for this Tier 2 matchup between the visiting University of Toronto schools and the home court Raiders. UTS overwhelmed Riverdale earlier in the season and now stand in the way of a berth in the finals. Nerves rattled the Lady Raiders as they fell behind early, dropping the first set in 3 of their games. But these girls dug deep and didn't come this far to lose now. Solid play helped Riverdale rally back and pull out the eventual 5-3 win. This victory provided a strong sense of confidence going into the title game.
I am looking forward to definitely getting that last ace and winning the whole thing.
They're moving, they're making smart shots, they're placing the ball, they're making their opponents move for the ball. You know, they're celebrating their wins because they're working hard for their wins.
The courts are silent this morning as Mother Nature forces morning practice indoors. But that doesn't mean Coach Suakis is taking it easy on the girls. To some, it may appear to be more routine drills, but for senior team members, today's practice signifies the end of a journey.
Sad, because I've been on the team for 4 years now, and tennis is like the only really big sport that I do. It's probably my last team practice ever.
One last pep talk to keep spirits high as the team feels closer than ever.
1, 2, 3, Raiders!
The girls are on the road to Davisville as June Rollins Park hosts Championship Day. After a 3-2 regular season and 2 close playoff games, it all comes down to today, as Riverdale looks for its 5th title in 6 years. But they will have to overcome undefeated Ursula Franklin if they want to complete the dynasty. The Raiders jump out to an early lead, but Coach Suakis gathers her troops to give them a reality check.
Don't go strong-arming and start making unforced errors. No unforced errors.
The girls didn't falter and went on the triumph over Ursula Franklin 5-3 and achieved their goal from the start of the season to win it all.
We bring back to Riverdale, you wear these around your neck very
Because everyone has to wear them for next
tomorrow.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
For Centennial Sports TV, I'm Jordan Reginato.
Thanks, Jordan. We go from tennis skirts to field hockey kilts. Our Danny Black went to the University of Toronto Varsity Stadium to cover the high school girls city championships, where only one team was left standing.
Varsity Stadium was a venue for the Tier 1 Field Hockey Championships, where two East York teams were fighting for this trophy. Even some U of T staff took in the first match between South Region champs Malvern Collegiate and East Region's Sir John A. MacDonald. Malvern looked poised to take the game with a late goal, but Mac equalized quickly, which sent this game to a shootout, where goalie Emily Petra made the easy stop to seal the win, sending Malvern to the championship game. East York Collegiate braiding their hair and getting loosened up in hopes of meeting Malvern in a rematch of the South Region Finals. EYC reached the championships in just their first season of Tier 1 play. They would be in tough, though, against Birchmount, and despite a strong effort by East York, they came up short. Birchmount won 3-0 to move on to the final. East York, though, are proud of what they accomplished in just 1 year.
For us to be able to move to Tier 1 this year and play so amazingly well and make it to the city championships is a huge feat in itself, and I think the girls need to, grasp that.
So Malvern and Birchmount took the field in the final, where Malvern Collegiate pulled out a tight 1-0 win to take the title.
And this is the second year my team's been in it. Last year we were knocked out early in the semis, so this is just a fantastic feeling. I'm so happy for the girls.
While it's all smiles for Malvern, Birchmount still have their work cut out for them. With the loss here in the finals, Sir John A. MacDonald now has an opportunity to challenge them for their guaranteed OFSA spot. That match goes Thursday at Birchmount Stadium. For Centennial Sports TV, I'm Danny Black.
Thanks, Danny. And Birchmount did win that game 3-0 and will join Malvern at OFSA on November 5th. Now to some basketball. The Eastern Commerce Senior Girls Basketball team has been exceeding all expectations, dominating their opponents so far this season, and Tuesday's game was no exception. That's Eastern Commerce confidently gearing up for regular season play. The girls have little experience playing together, but from Game 1 have proved to be the team to beat in their division. At home against Oakwood Tuesday afternoon, showing just how strong they are, EC scored nearly twice as many points as the visitors, 29-15 going into the half. Oakwood gave it a good effort, but just couldn't get it done. Eastern Commerce took this one easily, 52-31, and improves its record to 7-1. The team has an impressive scoring margin of 457 to 193, sitting second in the division as playoffs approach. Head coach Barry Benjamin talked about his team.
It should be a rebuilding year, but they're proving it not to be. There's a lot more talent on this team than in the past teams, so they're finally coming together. At the beginning of the season, they started off good, then they had their little ups or a down, and now they're picking it up.
And the team will have a busy weekend as they participate in the 16-team Centennial College Lady Colts High School Classic at Bill Crothers Gym.
Stick around for an inside view of a club that's one of a kind right here in our community. Then we're off the mat and back in the ring. This story will knock your lights out. We'll be right back.
Centennial Sports TV is your home to all that East York Athletics has to offer. From high school and college sports to local events and even ways to keep in shape, we will bring you all the stories from around the community. Catch us live every Friday night at 8 and learn what has gone on in the past week and what is coming in the week ahead. If you miss our live broadcast, just log on to our website, ondemand.centennialcollege.ca, to see all that happened. Centennial Sports TV, your home to East York sports.
Welcome back.
We hope you're enjoying CSTV's special focus on women in sports. So we've heard a lot about the local talent, but what about some of the greatest Canadian female athletes of all time? There are a few that easily come to mind, but who's your favorite? Matt Levicki hits the halls with Centennial students. Let's see what he could find.
Canada.
My favorite Canadian female athlete is Jamie Saleh, and she won the gold medal with her partner David Peltier. She's cool.
Shaylin Bourne, Victor Kratz. They were pretty amazing, actually, dance couple.
Most famous female Canadian athlete would likely have to be Silken Lawman.
Cassie Campbell played for Team Canada.
My favorite Canadian female athlete is Hayley Wickenheiser.
Hayley Wickenheiser. She happens to be the best, I think, out of all women in hockey. The most important thing that I know she's got is the heart.
Hayley Wickenheiser is definitely a great call. She has achieved iconic status excelling in women's hockey. But for me, I'm going with Katrina LeMay-Doan. Dominant as a two-time gold medal winning Olympic speed skater, she will be forever a legend in the hearts and minds of all Canadian sports fans. Matt Levicki, Centennial Sports TV.
Thanks, Matt. East York finally now has its own much-needed volleyball club for girls under 13. George Huffman headed down to talk to players, parents, and to a coach to find out why the club is important to area girls.
With the changing of the season, youth athletics is moving indoors. A new volleyball team at Earl Grey Senior Public School is giving U13 girls a chance to play in their own backyard.
Chris Lopez is a physical trainer, a former competitive volleyball player, and an East York father of 5. This fall he established the area's first under-13 girls volleyball club.
I was spending too much time in the car going all the way down to Etobicoke or out to Southeast Scarborough for my daughter to play club volleyball. So I figured nothing's going on here. She's 12 years old now. There's not, there's no volleyball presence, but there's a lot of potential in this area because we're so close to the beaches.
Coach Lopez saw the potential for a club team last year when his daughter's elementary school team went to the city championships. But this week was all about the fundamentals. Whether it's serving underhand, overhand, or just keeping a rally alive, to Lopez, the club's primary goal is to give kids a place to grow as athletes and provide a local alternative to the family couch.
Especially with the way society is now with the information age and sitting on the couch playing video games all day and all that stuff. So I think it's good that they get out and really start to play some sports.
The girls will get their first taste of competition in early December, but until then they are just happy to be playing their sport of choice close to home.
I love volleyball so much, so any opportunity I take it, because you can't find it anywhere else.
In order to get to a team, the distance to travel was so far, so it's really great for us now to have something local.
It's easier on the parents when there's so much going on already. This works out well.
For Centennial Sports TV, I'm George Huffman.
Thanks for that, George. Back before women had the right to vote, they could get in the ring and box it out in the Olympics. St. Louis hosted the 1904 Games where female boxing was shown as a demonstration sport. And now, over 100 years later, it's back. Elena Pagliarello takes a closer look at some women who pack a real punch.
Ever since the announcement was made in August, boxers at the Toronto Newsgirls Boxing Club, the only all-female club in the country, have a new focus.
Going to the Olympic Games, that's our whole goal right now. That's our big goal.
Even though she's only been training seriously for 6 months, Holly Skinner now has her sights set on wearing the maple leaf someday.
Yeah, it's definitely a goal. Before, it was the provincials that were more of a goal, and like there's other tournaments and things like that you can become involved with, but I mean, Olympics are like for any athlete the ultimate goal.
There will be 3 weight classes for women in the Olympic program. The sport was almost included at the 2008 Games in Beijing, but now that there are 120 international boxing federations with female fighters, the sport could no longer be ignored. It was the last Summer Games event to have men's-only competition, but when the decision was made to include it, competitors like Skinner had one thought.
Finally, a little bit, and excited, and just going like, yeah, it's about time.
I was satisfied because I knew that there was a chance it wouldn't be accepted, but to me it would be crazy for them not to accept it.
Boxing is the latest in a line of women's sports that have been added to the Olympic program in the past 2 decades. And you never know. In London for the 2012 Games, we could see one of these women fighting for Canada. For Centennial Sports TV, I'm Elena Pagliarello.
Thanks, Elena. If you liked these boxing stories, make sure that you come back next week when Matt Padani will sit down for an exclusive interview with the Women's Club founder, Savoy Howe. So, Laura, I've been thinking, Matt was asking people who their favorite Canadian athlete is. You?
Katrina LeMay-Doan, hands down. But unfortunately, that's all we have time for. Have a safe and happy Halloween,
Have a good
everyone.
night.
Good night.